And
I
I'm
mean, look,
asking, Dale, I'm asking you about this specifically to get an idea of your style for the audience,
right.
because dating coaches, we see them, respectfully, we see them everywhere. We see them
Mhm.
all over Instagram. We see them on YouTube,
Yeah, no doubt.
Spotify. We even see them at the clubs with flyers. And from what I've experienced and what I've seen, like each of them kind of has a different style. We
Mhm.
got some dating coaches specifically focused on getting you laid.
Right,
And like, sure, you got sex, but from what I see coaches like that, there's a lot of like they're teaching you like ways to manipulate. There's this thing
right.
called negging,
Yeah.
where negging, where you give a girl a compliment, but that's an insult at the same time, like,
Yeah,
oh, cute
backhanded
mole,
compliment.
or
Right.
you look great if you lost weight. And apparently the goal of that is like if she's pretty insecure, you kind of broke her defenses or something.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
ascribe to that because I like to think I have a little bit of empathy out there. I can't imagine fucking up a person's day like that.
well, I
But
think
then, but then you got like other coaches who are really into the lovey-dovey stuff, like, oh, write her a letter, bombard her with your love, make it like throw all your cards at the table, like, and it to me like that part of it is like basically, oh, so you're basically saying stalk her, and then like, and be so persistent that somehow she thinks all this creepiness is romantic.
right,
What
right.
is the balance, Dale? Like,
Well,
what is your specific
look,
style, and what's the best of both worlds?
okay, this is what I tell people all the time in regards to that. Look, anything can work. Everything can work. You know what I mean? It's up to what it comes down to is what works best for the individual. Okay. And so, look, the very simpy type of style, can that work? Sure, it can work. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it can't work. It's not something I would teach, but it can work. You know what I mean? Like anything can work, but what works best for you? Like let's figure that out. So I think what I do that's distinctly different than what you're going to see primarily out there is I'm a big advocate of giving value. If I love taking business business strategies and applying it to dating. Okay, so like for instance, are you familiar with Gary Vaynerchuk?
Sorry, Gary V.
Yeah, yeah, he's like a business mogul. Like he's an author. He's got a big, huge YouTube channel, social
I
media
feel like I
wizard.
would know him by face. Is he the
Yeah, you
guy with
probably
all the telecalls?
yeah, yeah. You would probably know who he is for sure if you've seen him. But
Hmm.
anyway, I say that to say this. He has an expression called hook, hook, jab, which essentially means give, give, ask. Okay. So if you're giving value, it's okay to ask for business in return, you know? And so that how does that apply to dating? Okay. Look, if my intention, how do I even know? Like I see this girl. All I know about her is what she looks like. That's it. That's all I know. How do I know that she's compatible with me in any way, shape, or form outside of her aesthetic looks? Maybe her life is just a complete train wreck, and I don't want her in my life whatsoever. But I'm not going to know that until I get to know her, right?
Yeah.
So by giving value, by improving somebody's day, and I don't mean in a simpy way, like, oh my God, you're so beautiful, and da, 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 da. I don't mean that. But what I mean is having good conversation. Everybody wants to have good conversation. People are dying for human connection, you know? And if you can provide that, you can give value and make their day a little bit better by joking around, having a good time, building some connection there, things like that. That's going to go a long way. Now there's more to it than that, of course, but that's kind of the broad strokes. Like I'm a big advocate of being a positive force. People are attracted to people that are having fun, that are having a good time, that are putting out positive energy. You'll see a lot of times different coaches and things like that. And I'm not I don't disparage anybody. I'm not going to name names or anything like that. But you'll see some coaches say things like, "Oh, you got to be stoic. You can't show emotion ever. You got to be the alpha dog of all alpha dogs." Look, let me tell you something. Like I've been to a million clubs in my life, man. I've been out a million times. I've coached a million dudes. I never see the guy in the club that's riding the wall, being tough guy, mean mugging everybody. I don't see that guy with any women. You know who I see with women? The guy that's having a good time, that's putting positive energy out there, that's having a
Mm.
blast, who looks like he would not want to be anywhere else in the world than where he is right now. That's the guy that attracts people, you know? And as opposed to the guy who looks like he'd rather be anywhere else in the world than where he is. That's what I see. And that's what I know because I've lived it. And so that's what I'm driving at is I think that that's one of the main distinctive differences in what I coach. Like I want people coming away like feeling like their day is better when they interact with me. Anytime they talk to me, they feel better. I know when I'm sick and I go to the doctor and the doctor gives me medication and I feel better, guess where I'm going to go next time I'm sick? That same doctor.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same thing. I want people to come back. I don't want to just like hit it and quit it. I don't want to just, and if I do, I want it to be based on a real reason, not just because like, one night stand, yay me. Like I want to have 1,000 night stand if I want to, because for whatever reason, I've got some connection with this girl, you
Yeah.
know?
So it seems to me like you're saying you want to build foundations, you don't want to teach tricks.
Right. 100%. Now there's something to be, and I'm not going to front, there's something to be said for, having a kind of a social strategy, just
Yeah.
like, like for instance, you doing this podcast. I know you have an outline. We talked about it. You know what I mean? You have an outline. It's not just right off the top, completely organic. All right, Dale, nice to meet you. Let's turn the mics on. Let's go. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there is some structure to what it is that you do, you know? And I believe it's good to have a structure to your social interactions, but I'm also, as long as that structure doesn't include you lying to them or you being deceitful or
Mhm.
misrepresenting yourself as to be somebody else that you're not, and you know what I mean? Like that's where things get convoluted and get a little bit unethical, if you will.
Yeah. Well, it's like you said, because you're teaching the guys to better themselves, there's no real bad, like, if you're on a path of self improvement, you can't say that's like, I guess what you just said, an unethical path. Like you're improving yourself, and
Right.
when it comes to improving yourself, like there's no like subjectivity to it. It's like you're focusing on your health, your mental health. You're focusing
Yeah.
on your personality. You're being a positive force. And
I'm,
again, like when I say those two extremes of
mhm.
dating, I find them very manipulative, but
Yeah,
like with
man.
different tactics. Like like within the manosphere,
Mhm.
that recent term that came up,
Yeah.
like there's like the red pill community where like these guys are all coming together and saying, yo, some girls are recreational use only. If she's a single mom, get her out of there. Like once a
Right.
girl goes past 30, damaged or expired goods, there is like that part of the internet out there just like festering, if you want to say.
Yeah.
And again, their tactics are manipulation, basically like crushing down a girl's self-esteem so that she sleeps with you, and you had fun, but you're basically a bad decision she made.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
again, there's the other side of it, which isn't so innocent either. The I don't know, I want to call them the Casanova nice guy side, where like you're just like giving them so much love and affection, buy them gifts all the time, write them poetry, write a letter,
Mhm.
always be there for them. And it's like the simp advice,
Right.
simping.
Yeah.
And that's manipulative too, because your plan of attack is not to like penetrate her defenses. Your plan of attack is to wear down her defenses to a point where she's vulnerable enough to like just finally like say yes to you out of
Right.
all
It's
the
like
no's.
what's it called? A war of contrition, right? Or like
Yeah, exactly, exactly. A war of attrition.